In the 1890s, a woman's decision to wear a pair of trousers could incite more public outrage than if she had appeared in the street wearing nothing at all. This might sound, utterly bizarre to our modern sensibilities, but it was a shocking reality for the women who dared to challenge the sartorial norms of their day. The simple act of dividing a skirt into two leg coverings was seen as a profound moral transgression, an affront to decency and the natural order of things. People whispered, pointed, and shouted insults. Yet behind this seemingly scandalous fashion choice was a desperate and practical need. The real scandal was not the trousers, but the dangerous and restrictive clothing that proper Victorian society demanded of its women, garments that could, and often did, lead to very real harm. To truly understand the revolutionary nature of the bloomer, we must first descend into the stifling world of Victorian dress. The sheer quantity of clothing worn by a typical middle-class woman was staggering. It began with the corset, a rigid cage of whalebone and steel. It constricted the waist, pushed up the bosom, displaced internal organs. This instrument of fashionable torture limited lung capacity. But the corset was only the beginning. Over it, women piled on petticoats, sometimes 6 or 7. These petticoats were heavy, not flimsy, made from starched cotton, flannel, horsehair crinoline. Each layer added weight and insulation. A microclimate formed around the lower body. Heat and moisture were trapped. Temperatures beneath the skirts could become dangerously high. Perspiration could not evaporate. The skin stayed damp. Women developed rashes. There was no thermal relief. Beyond overheating, long skirts were a constant hazard and a terrifying fire risk. Out of this context of constriction and peril emerged a beautifully simple, rational solution: the bloomer, named after activist Amelia Bloomer, who popularized the style in her newspaper, The Lily. They were, in essence, a pair of full, loose-fitting pantaloons gathered below the knee or at the ankle, worn underneath a shortened skirt that typically fell to just below the knee, not to mimic men's attire, but to create a rational dress for women, allowing modesty while freeing them from the dangers of the trailing skirt. The genius of the design lay in airflow and movement. By dividing the garment, a channel was created. Each step or pedal stroke acted like a bellows, pumping air. This circulation allowed sweat to evaporate, carrying away excess heat and reducing the risk of overheating. For the first time, activity did not mean collapse. The bloomer was, in effect, early climate control technology. Freedom of movement followed. Stride, climb, mount a bicycle without fear of tripping or entanglement. Safer, healthier, and infinitely more comfortable. Despite its obvious practical advantages, the bloomer was met with a storm of public hostility and ridicule. The opposition was not based on logic or concern for women's well-being. It was a visceral defense of the social order. To the conservative Victorian mind, trousers were male. A woman in trousers was seen as usurpation, a blurring of sacred lines between the sexes. Fear manifested as mockery, aggression, social ostracism. Newspapers and magazines had a field day, publishing cruel cartoons and satirical verses. Bloomer-clad women were depicted as unattractive, aggressive, neglectful of home, bullying their husbands, trying to be men. On the streets, women faced verbal abuse. Men jeered and shouted insults. Street urchins threw stones or splashed mud. It took immense courage to wear a sensible outfit. The battle for rational dress raged in lecture halls, newspapers, and private correspondence. Dr. Mary Edwards Walker wore trousers for life, endured arrests and ridicule, and argued restrictive clothing harmed women's health. The rise of the bloomer cannot be separated from the explosion of the bicycle, the safety bicycle, chain drive, pneumatic tires. It became widely available and affordable in the 1890s. For women, it was a vehicle of emancipation. A woman could travel miles without a horse, carriage, or male chaperone. But conventional skirts were incompatible. Fabric threatened to ensnare, enchain, or spokes. To embrace the wheel, dress had to adapt. The bicycle catalyzed rational dress. The bloomer became the perfect cycling costume, a new machine meeting a new garment of freedom. Susan B. Anthony declared in 1896, "Let me tell you what I think of bicycling. I think it has done more to emancipate women than anything else in the world. It gives women a feeling of freedom and self-reliance. I rejoice every time I see a woman ride by on a wheel." The picture of free, untrammeled womanhood. Cycling built physical and mental fortitude, balance, skill, stamina. It drew women into the public sphere to meet, organize, and travel to lectures and rallies. The bloomer was a brilliant, if primitive, thermoregulatory design, solving how to keep the body cool using simple airflow. Space between the legs and a loose fit allowed air to circulate freely. Each step or pedal stroke expelled warm, moist air and drew cooler, drier air in convective cooling. In essence, it was an early performance garment designed for function, a revolutionary focus on how clothing works with the body today. Trace the idea forward. Modern athletic wear wicks moisture to speed evaporation. Textiles release cooling agents in response to heat. Variable weaves open for airflow as temperature rises. These innovations answer the same problem the bloomer addressed, managing heat and moisture for performance and comfort. The legacy is social, political, and technological, a first step toward intelligent apparel. Women of the 1890s proved that what we wear shapes what we can do, an insight driving textile research today. The bloomer itself was a relatively short-lived fashion, eventually giving way to shorter skirts and much later, the widespread acceptance of trousers for women. Yet its impact was profound and enduring. The controversy it sparked reframed conversations about women's bodies, health, and place in society. It was a small but essential battle in the larger war for women's equality. The woman in bloomers, confidently riding her bicycle, became an icon of a new era, a visual shorthand for female independence, a rejection of the fragile domestic ideal. Change was about more than clothing. It was about movement. Once a woman could move freely without the impediment of skirts or the distress of overheating, she could participate more fully in the world. She could travel to work, attend a university, and join political activism. This physical liberation was a precursor to political and economic liberation. The right to move is fundamental to all other rights. Today, jeans, yoga pants, and technically advanced cycling shorts feel ordinary, and we rarely give a thought to the battles that made such choices possible. We take for granted that our clothing will allow us to run, ride, work, live without hindrance. This freedom is a direct inheritance from the brave women who endured ridicule and scorn to wear a pair of baggy trousers. They showed that challenging a restrictive dress code was not frivolous, but a vital act of self-determination. They proved a simple change in design could unlock a world of possibility. The things we wear are never just fabric and thread. They are identity, freedom, the ability to navigate the world. From the simple billowing vents of the 1890s bloomer to the sweat-wicking smart fabrics of 2026. The goal remains the same, to design a world that allows the human body to move with health, safety, dignity. The road to freedom was, in part, paved by women on bicycles, and their journey began the moment they chose a pair of pants that let them pedal. From bloomers to smart fabrics, movement is the measure of progress. Why Victorian bloomers revolutionized women's cycling and early feminist fashion trends is simple. They turned clothing into a tool of liberation. They transformed the bicycle from novelty into an engine of autonomy. They dismantled the myth of the fainting Victorian, replacing frailty with endurance and fashion with function, and they pass down a legacy we live in every day, the right to move, comfortably, confidently, and free.